Hello.
Hi.
My name is Kurt.
Hey, my name is Kurt too.
I like to play with computers.
I like playing on computers.
I like to sit up on the internet
Yep,
and
me
play
too, they're fun.
hard all night long. That's right, my fellow mates.
Yep.
I enjoy
Very much.
playing around on the internet,
Yes, sir.
chatting and playing and
Yes,
listening to music and enjoying life.
Shut up already. Yeah.
Okay, so here we are. We are about ready to do the installation process on the Raspberry Pi 2 Revision B. All right, so one thing I didn't put in the last video when I was talking about the connections is the HDMI cable. You have to use the supplied HDMI cable that came with the unit. And, well, I guess you don't have to. If you already have one, then go ahead and use it. But if not, you will need to use the HDMI cable and connect it from the Raspberry Pi to your HDMI TV or monitor. If you don't have an HDMI monitor or television and you have an older television that doesn't have an HDMI input, you're not completely out of luck. What you can do is you'll have to get what's called a composite 4-pole. I think this is the jack on here is a 4-pole. A combination video out and audio jack. So you will have to get a 4-pole. I'm not really sure. If any of you have questions about that on locating one, let me know and I'll do some web searching along with you and we'll get that figured out. So okay, so I got the HDMI cable plugged in. The Ethernet cable is plugged in from the Raspberry Pi 2 to the Linksys router that I have here at home. I've got the mouse connected, got the keyboard connected, and I have the Wi-Fi dongle that it came with installed into one of the USB slots. So make sure that if you want to play around with wireless, be sure you have that plugged in. That way, once we have the system up and running, it will detect it and it will see it as a USB device. And in a later video, I'm going to show you how to configure it to work with your router. So okay, so the only thing that I do not have plugged in that I told you also to wait on is the small micro, I think it's a micro USB power cable. The Raspberry Pis do not have a power switch. So the only way to turn it on and off is to plug it in and unplug it. Plugging it in is no big deal. As long as you have everything connected, it should work. However, the way the Linux operating system is, you do not want to unplug the power cable until you have shut down the operating system through your monitor or through your keyboard. I will be showing you how you do that also at the end of this video. So if you do unplug the power cable while Linux is running, it may be reading and writing to your micro SD card. And if it is reading and writing to your micro SD card, while you unplug the unit and shut the power off, it can corrupt your data on the SD card and ruin your Linux installation. So you must be very, very vigilant and not losing power to the unit while it's operating. Okay, so without further ado, let me see if we can go ahead and plug this in. I've got some pretty lights that came on. Monitor should change. And there's the introduction screen, or initialization screen, rather. And here we go. The first screen to load up is what they call Noobs. Again, Noob stands for New Out of Box. It's a special way that they designed to make it easy for folks to go ahead and just put the card into their Pi and boot it up and get a screen right off the bat. If it didn't have this, you would have to download the version of Linux for the Pi that you want off of the internet, and you would have to unzip it, and it comes in the form of a disk image. You would have to burn that disk image directly onto your micro USB before you could even plug it into the Pi and run it. So in the future, I will probably be doing a video to show everybody how you can do all that the hard way. I will also be covering how to back up your micro SD card preferably every day if you can. If not, every 2 or 3 days, maybe at least once a week, once or twice a week at a minimum. Micro SD cards and even the thumb drives, the USB thumb drives that you can buy, have a limited number of write cycles. In other words, you can only write to any given portion on this type of media so many times. Generally, I think some of them nowadays are like 100,000 writes. So, I mean, it's not going to go bad on you too soon if you don't use it super, super heavy, like video editing, saving log files in the same location over and over and over a zillion times a day, something like that. So, but anyway, you will want to back up your micro SD card at least once or twice a week at a minimum, every day if possible. Okay, so what the screen that we have here is where you can select what operating system you want to download and install. Since you have the Ethernet cable plugged into your Raspberry Pi through your router, if your router is connected to the internet, this unit will have access to what's called a repository for specifically made for Raspberry Pis. And it will download the software on an as-needed basis during install. So definitely make sure that you got your Ethernet card or Ethernet cable plugged in. Okay, so on the screen we have multiple selections, multiple choices. I don't know if I can zoom in here and not mess up my focus. I guess if I do, I do. I have it set to manual so you can make sure that you can read the text, hopefully. Okay, so what we do here is the official Linux version that comes with the Pi is the Raspbian. You'll notice it says recommended. This is the operating system, the Linux version or distribution that I will be using to teach you how to use the Raspberry Pi as part of our Internet of Things experimentation. So what you want to do is take your mouse, put a check mark where it says Raspbian recommended. Okay. Once you've done that, right above you will see an icon. It says install. Okay. You can go ahead and click it. It says warning, this will install the selected operating systems. All existing data on the SD card will be overwritten, including any operating systems that are already installed. Do you want to do this? Well, obviously this is our first installation and nothing is on there that we want to keep, so we will click yes. Once you've clicked yes, the installation process will begin, and the amount of time it takes to install on just about any Raspberry is going to be pretty standard. Okay, so now I'm going to, don't mind the camera jiggling here, but I want to give you a view of the bottom of the screen. Okay, at the bottom of the screen, there is a group of selectors down there. It says language, and it also says keyboard. Now, if you do live in the UK, you can leave this the same, and you can leave this the same. If you live in, let's say, any of these other countries, you can select Deutsch, Französisch. Any of these will work for you. Okay. I am in the United States. Canadian users will also choose United States English. That's the version of English that we use, because we don't have that really awesome British accent. I can't even do it. Okay, over here where it says keyboard, it says US, and that's what we want, US. Make sure you have those selected before the installation process is completed. Now, I will warn that it can take a long time for this to install. It can take upwards of a half hour, sometimes 45 minutes, somewhere in between there, all depending on your network connection and the version of the Pi that you have. I think most of the Pis take about the same amount of time to install. So, camera jiggle again. Move over here. Got one of those tripods that is kind of a rascal to play with sometimes. Now, I'm not going to leave the video running, the camera running for the entire installation process on here, but I would encourage you, while yours is installing, to do what I'm going to do. This is my very first Raspberry Pi. Oh, pardon me. We'll get this thing tightened down. There we go. This is my very first Raspberry Pi, and I kind of want to enjoy some time reading all these little screens that pop up. They will provide you information on some basics on what you're getting yourself into here. And I am an experienced Linux user. I also have used Windows. I still have a Windows laptop running Windows 8. I will not use Windows 10. Heaven forbid. Heaven forbid. No Windows 10 for me. So now it's just Windows 8, 8.1, and then I run Linux Mint on my desktop. And now I'm going to have a Raspberry Pi running Raspbian Linux, which is based off of Debian. Debian is a distribution. Raspbian is a minimized version that was designed to operate strictly on a Raspberry Pi to make the better use of the hardware, such as the ARM processor and the lesser amounts of memory, all that good stuff. So I'm going to turn the camera off, and I will get back to it once the installation is complete. Sit back, watch your screen, and enjoy.